So what I like to do is make my first cut right along the side, always paying attention to most of the time cut away from myself. As you can see, I'm not slashing. These are nice slim cuts here. I don't like working around the groin area. You know, this is fluid to fluid, so you want to be real careful. But as you can see, we've got the penis coming out. It makes quick work of it. Okay, we've got the genitals rolled back. We can take our knife and just go straight up, chest cavity till we hit the brisket. What I like to do is cut back a little bit on the hide. Get this out just a little bit. Now if I was caping this animal, you're going to want to be careful, not go any farther than the brisket, which is at this point right here. Okay, but I'm not going to cape out this animal. This is straight meat hog. Again, I do this just to open it up a little bit, so it's a little easier for me to get inside there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make a very careful incision down here. And what this is going to do is going to open the animal up and expose all the entrails. 2 fingers in, all the way to the brisket. Now we've exposed the animal's entrails, and we're ready to go deep. We're going to have to go about here to cut the esophagus. We've got a wall that's about right here inside here. When you put your hand in, you should be able to feel the lungs and close to the heart. You want to grab a hold, be careful with your knife. Always like to go sharp end up, away from me. And what I'm doing now is I'm cutting around my hand very gently to open up and expose the heart. Again, the heart is right inside these shoulders. Always careful with this. That's another reason why I like to wear gloves. Now I'm down to the esophagus. Paying attention to always cut away from my hand. Once you cut that off, you can draw everything back. Now you're going to have a membrane that attaches this animal on the inside, cutting towards the rib cage. You can take this membrane down on each side. You can see why I like to wear these gloves. Again, very careful with that knife edge. And if you did it right, you could pull everything out. Urine sac right there. You're going to be very careful. Now a lot of guys want to mess with the anal cavity. I leave that in and cut around it. I make one cut on that anal cavity and I cut it off from the inside. And then I don't mess with it anymore. We're talking about only entrails, so I'm not really exposing any meat to that kind of damage. Got to be very careful with that urine sac. Now urine sac's still in there, so you got to be really careful. Cut off the testicles. Gut paw goes away. You got to feed all the animals in the forest. Now if you want some good boar urine, you're in business with that. You just have to be very careful with this. You want to pinch it off, cut it, done. Urine's over there. We've made quick work of this. Next thing you want to do, never stick your knife in the ground. Dulls out the blade. Put that in a safe area because I'm not going to sheath it again because it's bloody. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this guy over, get rid of any fluids that are inside of him, move them aside, work on the next one. Now what we're doing is we're getting ready to work on the sow. Difference between a sow and a boar is you're going to have to take this whole section out here. This udder section. You want to take this out in one piece. It's going to expose a lot when you field dress. Now a lot of guys too with hogs, they don't bother with any of this because they don't keep the ribs. There's absolutely no damage on the rib cage on any of these animals. These are going to be some good eating ribs, I'm going to tell you what. So we're going to go make the first cut very similar to how we made the first cut on the boar, with the difference being is that we're going to go a little farther on the outside. And we're going to cut around these because you really don't want to nip these milk sacs at all. It makes a mess, and again it's more fluid that you don't really need to mess with. You don't want to mess with it. And I'm paying particular attention, and I'm just getting that hide around here. This is going to be a real fatty area. You can see it's a little thicker. And I've opened it right up to the entrails with this, which is okay as long as you continue to pull it back. You always want to try to keep it hair on hair, meat on meat. Basically, we've got the same way as the male. We've got the udder hanging over. Now we go to work on the rest of it.